Hi everyone, welcome back to Coffee, Books, and Rain. I'm Rachel, and yes, I have my coffee. I think the rain may have stopped, sadly, but we do have books and we are about to dive in. So that is the great part of this episode because what are our episodes if not about books? And we have had a fantastic September where the books have been pretty darn good. I will say that I'm not sure if this one is got the spooky vibes that I thought it was going to have, but you know what? I thought it was pretty darn good. It is a sequel, and it is one that I definitely wanted to bring to the table because I read the first one in August. And I read the first one in August because this one was coming out in September. So, we are doing Bringer of Dust by J.M. Miro because I got it as an ARC and I already had the Ordinary Monsters on my bookshelf, and I realized I had not actually read Ordinary Monsters prior to requesting this book, even though it looked incredibly familiar. So when I got this book as an ARC, I actually was like, oh crap, I thought I had read it, had not read it, so had to quickly read it, realized I really liked it, so did a review for that one, then went ahead and audiobooked this one because I got the audiobook from NetGalley for Bringer of Dust and really, really liked it. So now I have the opportunity to bring you my review, my honest review for Bringer of Dust by J.M. Miro. So let's dive into the summary and then we will dive into my review of this book. In this highly anticipated second book in the Talents trilogy, the world of the dead is closer than you think. Our Agrigento, Sicily, 1983, with the Orsine destroyed, Cairnedale lies in ruins and Marlowe has vanished. His only hope of rescue lies in a fabled second Orsine, long hidden, thought lost, which might not even exist. But when his body's discovered in the shadow of Cairnedale, a body wreathed in the corrupted dusk of the Druger, Charlie and the Talents realize there is even more at stake than they feared. For a new Druger has arisen, ferocious, horned, seemingly able to move in their world at will, and it is not alone. A malevolent figure known only as Abbess, desires the dust for her own ends, and deep in the world of the dead a terrible evil stirs, an evil that the corrupted dust just might hold the secret to reviving or destroying forever. So the dark journey begun in Ordinary Monsters surges forward from the sinister underworld of the London exiles to the mysteries of a sunlit villa in the 19th century Sicily, to the deep catacombs hidden under Paris. Against bone witches, mud glyphics, and a house of twilight that exists in another world all its own, the Talents must work together if they are to have any hope of staving off the world of the dead and saving their long-lost friend. So it is considered historical fiction, horror, fantasy, gothic. I don't really know why it's considered horror historical fiction unless, of course, it's because it's like set in kind of what I guess historical fiction because it's set in what I call like the Jack the Ripper era. Like when you give me super moody, dark streets of London, foggy, those sorts of vibes, like lamplighter vibes, like I definitely think Jack the Ripper vibes. Like, am I right? Probably not, but that's just the vibe I have. So that's where my mind goes when I kind of think of that time period. So I guess that could be historical fiction, and that's probably what I'm supposed to think. I guess my mind just doesn't place it in our history, which is why it's hard to justify historical fiction, because when I think historical fiction, I guess my mind tries to place it in our timeline, and it just doesn't work. Because again, these are talents, these are kids with these sort of like abilities that it's kind of like putting it into a multiverse timeline. So it's hard to fit into our timeline. I'm like, it doesn't really fit into here. Anyway, that's just my general perception for me. Anyway, so the scene kind of opens a little, I don't want to say chaotically, but within a few months, not very long after the previous book closes. So it's not been a very long period of time since Cairnedale has fallen and Marlowe has been more or less trapped in the orsine of Cairnedale. So that orsine has been cut off since the glyphic, the spider, has kind of met his demise, met his end, and he is no longer able to come through that particular orsine. So now they have to find another orsine if they want to even try remotely to figure out how to get Marlowe out of the other world, the netherworld, so to speak. However, we do meet this other character, which she is a bone witch, and she can see Marlowe, but he is very wraith-like or ghost-like in his appearance when he shows up. And it's very interesting because he does appear to her like a ghost. And so it's sad in a lot of ways, because you don't want Marlowe to be dead, but he seems like he's dead when he shows up. And I don't know, there's just a couple things that kind of happen that you're like, because Marlowe's just this like little boy. At least when we last met him, he was just this little boy who had to grow up too fast. He was like 8 years old, and he was given too much, like too much was put on his shoulders to really, I guess too much power was kind of expected of him to really think he knew what to do. But I mean, I guess he kind of did know what to do, but the thing was he was only 8. And Charlie was his best friend, and Charlie again was really only like 12 or 13. So just saying. And Charlie's still looking for him. Charlie has not given up hope, but Charlie has lost his Halen ability, which Charlie was a healer. He could heal himself. But at the end of Ordinary Monsters, Charlie has lost that ability, at least at the beginning of this book. Unless he touches this special dust that they recovered from Joseph Marber's body. So there was some dust that they recovered from his body. I think it's the Druger's dust. And anytime he kind of touches it, it does kind of gives his powers, the little latent powers that he has, even though without it he doesn't heal. It does kind of give whatever was there a little bit of a boost, and he kind of feels like himself again. And so it is addictive in a way. So he can see why the Druger's powers could be addictive, but he doesn't want to be, I guess, under the sway of the Druger, because he saw what happened to Joseph Marber in the first book. I will say this book's pacing, in my personal opinion, was a little better. I felt the pacing in the first book was a little bit slow and a little chaotic at times. I felt like it would go quick and then it would go slow, it'd go quick and then it would go slow, but that was the first book. This book had a little bit of a better pacing, because we already had kind of set an expectation in the first one of how things would go. I still, in my personal opinion, thought it was a bit cumbersome for what we like. There were too many pages. That was my personal opinion. Did we need this many pages for this book? No. I cannot. I don't know why we needed 600 pages per the hardback for this book. Do I feel like we could have probably done it in 450? Yes. But I still thought the atmosphere of the book was really well done, because the atmosphere was one of the things that I loved about the first book. I love this dark, brooding atmosphere. And as somebody else had said, if you're a fan of Golden Compass and if you're a fan of like Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, you could be a fan of this book. I'm kind of on the fence with that, because this is much darker and this is a little bit more gritty. I think if you like those two books, but you're looking for something darker and grittier, then you'll like this book. I do think this does fall still in the YA realm, but a little bit closer to adult, but not too far out of the realm of YA. It does still ride that line of adult and YA, because we still are focused pretty significantly on kids and teens, so we still want to be cognizant that most of the characters are like young adults in the story, and most of the adult characters are pretty crappy. And most of the adult characters are fairly side characters as well. They're really more asides at best. I do like that our new character that we encounter is a bone witch. We didn't have a bone witch in the first one. We only had a reference to a bone witch, like a reference in the first movie, in the first book. So we do actually have a bone witch in this one. And it seems as though she's still pretty young, so she's still kind of coming into her powers. So I'd love to see her doing more things. But she is very nasty. She is very much like when I say nasty, she is not above doing some very terrible things to people. That's what I mean when I say she's nasty. So just saying, she is not afraid to pull her punches, or not afraid to not pull her punches. So just saying that. So we still kind of pick up in the ruins of the first book. We are trying to kind of get our team back together when this book first starts. It is hard. That's kind of one of the things about Jay and Miro in this particular kind of setting, is the first book does not leave you with a super happy ending. And I'm just going to be very clear about that, because I didn't want to say that as a spoiler for the first book when I did that review. The first book does not leave you with a super happy ending. It leaves you with an ending, and there are some people live and some people do not, but it's not super happy. This book picks up in the ruins of where that book left off, and we try to carry on. It is gritty, and that's what I'm trying to say with regards to, if I don't know if this is YA or if this is really adult, because because of the level of kind of facing that darkness, of facing the reality of kind of having to deal with the ramifications of what really happens when there is kind of those confrontations and death and those sorts of things, is that feels a little more adult in my personal opinion. But hey, my personal opinion, I think the characters are a little bit better done in this one. I think the pacing is a little better done. All in all, I really liked it, and I can't wait to see what the third one brings to us. So hopefully in the next year or so, we will see how Talents number 3 comes along, and I will be doing a review for it. So just saying, I cannot wait to bring it to you, because I don't want to spoil this book for you guys. It is going to be brand new, coming out to you guys on, I'm just scrolling to the date, September 17th of 2024. I'm going to try to release this episode right around that date, because I don't want to give too many spoilers. I just want to get you guys prepared for it to be coming out, because if you read Ordinary Monsters, if you listen to that review, just be aware, this book is going to take you for a ride. It will be a little slow in the beginning, and I would say like the first 10-15% kind of just, it starts setting the stage to kind of get things rolling. Give it a chance, but you're going to get rolling, and it's going to take you on a pretty dark journey towards, towards where it goes. So kind of keeping that under wraps, because I don't want to spoil anything, but I hope you take it for a ride. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you like and subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next page. Have a great one. Bye.